Been a harness racing fan all along, and Cam Fella certainly made me a harness racing fan.
Best way I can relate to Cam Fella is go back to my youth. I remember a thoroughbred named Damascus. And they would tell me that when Damascus looked a horse in the eye, he buried him. That's a term used in horse racing. Cam Fella is the standard bred equivalent of Damascus as far as I'm concerned. He looked several horses in the eye, including My Bill Forward earlier in the year, who was the best New York could offer. My Bill Forward never raced again. Walt Hanover in the stretch for his dead heat. Walt Hanover never raced again. T-Vic was the greatest at the time in the World Cup. He hooked Cam Fella in the top of the lane. He never raced again.
Now Cam is on a roll. He's won the Graduate Series. He's won the Driscoll Series. Remember that? And by gosh, everyone's talking about him. The old guy's got his sea legs and he's just burning up the tracks. But wouldn't you know, the media, there's nothing worse than the leg-spittle press. The media in the excited states, they're not interested in Cam and what he's doing. They've found a new darling, a new champion. Horse called It's Fritz. Remember him? It's Fritz. He had 3 world's records at 3 different raceways, and they're talking It's Fritz this, It's Fritz that, and of course sooner or later some smart boys come along. And this always happens in the horse business. They say, listen, we got 2 Cams here. We got a Cam Fella camp. We've got an It's Fritz camp. Let's pack them in and let's put up a bag of money here and see who is best. Well, by gosh, they go to the Meadowlands, and what do you think happens? They got It's Fritz there, and they got Cam Fella there. They got 2 camps. They never had a crowd like that in New Jersey in their lives. They got the horse. They got the race of the year. There's no question about it, and they got these people running all around the place. I like Cam, and I like It's Fritz. I would have thought the washrooms, they say, move over there. I'm here. I'm an It's Fritz man. You know, it was wicked all together, and the tension just mounted there. People was right on their edge. They had their shorts on, and what do you think happened? Old Norm Clement, he bets his money, puts the old Spa Dulix down, walking around the crowd, and he's just smiling every time he sees someone with a badge on him. I like Cam. He says, yeah, I do too. They don't know who he is, most of you know. Lots of people from Cam, and by God, into the gate they go, and it is the race, and the race is on. Boys, I'm going to tell you that was a place to be.
And Cam Fella now takes the top as they move to the quarter. It's Fritz is now second by 2 lengths. On Around is racing third. Ideal Tenor is now racing fourth. Walt Hanover is fifth, and after the early miscue, Happy Bibby is the trailer, and the quarter goes in 29-1, a comfortable fraction for Cam Fella, who takes the field up the backstretch. It's Fritz stalking the leader second, and On Around is now racing in third. Ideal Tenor is fourth by 2.5. Walt Hanover racing in fifth, and Happy Bibby continues to trail the field. They move up the backstretch with Cam Fella leading the way. It's Fritz still in close pursuit second. On Around is third, followed by Ideal Tenor fourth. By the back it's Walt Hanover and Happy Bibby. The quarter went in 29-1, and the half goes in 58-1. The field moves into the far turn. It's still Cam Fella. It's Fritz now is out of the pocket and moves to confront his foe as they race into the far turn. Here's the battle we've been waiting for. It's Fritz on the outside, Cam Fella toward the rail, and they match strides around the far turn. It's Fritz puts ahead in front with 3/8 to go. It's Fritz in front by a half length. Cam Fella is second. They've opened up by 5. And farther back, it's Ideal Tenor racing in third. And they hit 3/4 in 1:25-2. The field turns for home. It's Fritz has a clear lead. He's pulling away from Cam Fella. The lead is 2.5 lengths with 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Then farther back, Ideal Tenor is racing in third. It's Fritz draws off to a 3-length advantage. Cam Fella stubbornly holding on to second. Ideal Tenor is racing in third, a 16th to the wire. It's Fritz. Cam Fella is coming back. Cam Fella has come back, and he's going to win it. A sensational performance at 1:54-2.
It was incredible. I had my normal shirt I wear. It was soaking wet. I picked Friedberg up from in front of me, picked him right over the chairs. I almost broke his ribs, and it turned out to be a great night.
It's Fritz set several world records. He come first over and looked at Cam Fella. He never raced again. It's pure and simple. The horses that have to race with him and go stride to stride are up the track. He not only beats them, but he demoralizes them.
We'll be right back with the story of Cam Fella.
Well, I think he's about the best horse I've ever seen.
The best horse I ever bet on.
Well, I think he's got a big heart. I think that's the most important thing with the horse.
Oh, he's a super horse.
Is he?
Yeah.
Very nice horse, very consistent horse, been in the money quite a few times.
I think he's the greatest horse.
Well, sir, just as soon as Cam beats It's Fritz, the It's Fritz gang want a rematch. But the Norms, they says, now hold on, just slow down there. We'll meet you birds up in Montreal down the way. We got a program now for Cam Fella, and we're sticking to it. We're committed. And by gosh, they polish off the U.S. Pacing Championship of the Meadowlands.
To the wire. Cam Fella in front and driving. JD's bucked the challenger toward the inside, and here comes a bold challenge from Miller Scout. On the far outside, it's Mr. Delray. Cam Fella all out to hold the lead. Miller Scout right there toward the rail, and Cam Fella does it again.
Well, it was back to Greenwood Raceway for the Ontario Jockey Club Maturity Stakes.
Comes up the inside. Cam Fella under a drive. Here comes Saki's Adam on the outside with Striking Sun. Cam Fella, Saki's Adam, and Striking Sun. Cam Fella.
Then he comes right back with a powerhouse race. Demolishes Perfect and all them other guys in the Canadian Pacing Derby.
Cam Fella, JD's back. Cam Fella won't give up. Cole Harbour with a rush. Cam Fella, it's Cam Fella in the Derby.
Well, sir, the Cam Fella Express is in high gear now. Boys, they rush off to the Windy City. They polish them out there at Chicago, and then they go on out to Edmonton and win the Stuart Fraser Pace. Fly right back to Toronto for the Gold Cup of Mohawk Raceway. Then fly right back. I thought these guys had become Batman. Just wicked all together. They go to Cloverdale Raceway in British Columbia, and they win there. Then they come back here, and would you believe there's a fella at Kingston Raceway now, can't be any bigger than the Beamsville Trotting Track. He rings the norms up and he says, "You done all this? My gosh." He says, "Congratulations." He said, "I hear you're going to Montreal to take on It's Fritz." They said, "Oh, hold on. It's Fritz is taking us on. Come on now, let's get this straight. Well, would you mind stopping in Kingston? We'd like to have a little training mile, have the folks come out." Do you know they done it? And they had the biggest crowd they've ever had at the Kingston track there.
I got a call one day from Kingston Raceway, and they were just ecstatic about the fact that Cam was going to come and race. And I didn't quite know what they were talking about, but I went along with the conversation, and I got off the phone, and I walked into Norman's office, and I said, "I didn't know Cam was racing in Kingston." And he said, "They're not. They're just doing a training mile." I said, "You'll never believe it." I said, "I thought it was the race of the century. I just went along with the guy because I didn't know what he was talking about."
There is something about the horse, though. I have a son who should have pictures of Bo Derek on the wall, but he has posters of Cam Fella, and people seem to take to the horse. He is, as you said, it has become the people's horse.
I don't know why, but everywhere we go, Yonkers probably maybe the most of anybody. They're 10 deep along the stretch line, and they're clapping and cheering, and I don't know what it is.
Ambro Hassi and Perfect out. Only down to the west. Into the stretch. Cam Fella. An exterior outside to his Fritz. On the extreme outside, Miller Scout. Cattery up fourth. Ambro Acton. Way outside, see Supreme Jade. It's Cam Fella. Followed by Miller Scout. Cam Fella, Miller Scout, and Ambro Vieta. Voici, here they are.
Jeez, you know, what really must have been funny, put yourselves in the position of this Norm Clements guy. He goes down to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. His horse has done all this. You know what I mean? It's like the guy going over the falls in a barrel, and some other sucker comes along and says, "Well, can you sit in a high chair for 9 hours?" Or something. But, well, he's there, and he wants to syndicate this horse. He wants to sell shares. He wants to somehow get he wants all the hard boots to cave in and say, "You done it." Well, by gosh, a Canadian paved the way for that to happen. Ronnie Waples, what a family of people they are in this race.
I really had no idea what was going to happen. I walked in the door, and as I walked in, Ronnie Waples came over and shook my hand, and he said, "Norm, we're partners." And I sort of caught a little off guard. He said, "I want to own a share in Cam Fella." He says, "There's only one problem." I says, "What's that?" He says, "I got to pay cash." And I just laughed, and I said, "That's no problem with me."
Well, they all collapsed like a house of cards. That was the end of it. Cam Fella was not only king of the raceway, he was going to be the king in the breeding shed. There's Norm now. Excuse me, I'm going to get over there and beat my gums with him. Norm, you owe me a drink, you old son. Here's the two Norms. I was just telling them.
Sit down, Fred. I'll buy you a drink.
Oh, well, that's the stuff. I was just telling the fellas at the bar that...
We won all the money, by the way, at the races today.
Good for you. Good for you. Ronnie Waples, when he'd come up to you, he was walking tall. That turned the tide at Harrisburg, didn't it?
It was good. Ronnie was the first fella, but Armstrong Brothers bought 5 through Glenn Brown. In fact, that day, I sold 21 shares. I really only wanted to sell 20, so I had a happy phone call from my partner and said, "We're sold out plus one."
Well, the last time you raced, the very final time for Cam Fella at Greenwood Raceway, Toronto, I found you. I spotted Clement, but I could not find you, Norm. I couldn't. Where were you hiding?
I was buried in the crowd somewhere.
I think we were both hiding.
It was sad for us that day.
Yeah?
We watched him come down the stretch so many times, and we knew this was the last race. And
well, it was quite a day. There was signs up all over the place. All kinds of Cam Fella souvenirs for sale, and everyone just seemed to be in the spirit of the thing. Once again, it proved that Cam was truly the people's horse.
Well, they say it takes heart, and that's what it's got.
Good luck to him today.
Bye, Cam. I wish all you the luck.
Finally, it was time for Cam's last mile.
They're off and pacing. Saunders Alpine and JD's Buck fighting for the lead. Cam Fella from the outside. Armbro Arctic down along the inside. Saunders Alpine goes to the front. JD's Buck on the outside second. Third at the rail, Armbro Arctic. Cam Fella fourth. Fifth, Armbro Acton. Sixth, Miller's Scout. Monkey Wrench is seventh. Racing in eighth is Perfect Out. And Brett Dodger ninth. Around that first turn, and Saunders Alpine leads the field. Second, JD's Buck. Cam Fella on the outside third. Fourth, Armbro Arctic. And Saunders Alpine gets the first call quarter, 28 seconds flat. Cam Fella ranging up on the outside to take over the lead now. Saunders Alpine wants the garden spot anyway as they go to the half-mile mark. Down that back stretch, and Cam Fella draws away now. Armbro Acton on the outside second. Saunders Alpine is third. Miller Scout is fourth, and they turn home. Ranging up three wide, Monkey Wrench. With an eighth to go, it's Cam Fella by three. Armbro Acton, Miller Scout still trying, still coming on the outside. Cavalry charge for second. Cam Fella all alone as they come to the wire. It's Cam Fella by three with Monkey Wrench driving on the outside. Cam Fella 28 straight, 157 and 2.
So come on, you pacers, and catch me if you can. I beat you before and I will do it again. There are those out there who I can't let down. I'll make you a winner if you pass it around, and I can sense my speed as I pull into the lead. My thoughts begin to drift. Make you feel a little lucky, it'll give you a lift. We all love our racing, but the race is to the swift. There were so many times when I ran for reasons even I didn't know. There were times I admit I'd relax just a bit, and I started off way too slow. Then I sense my speed as I pull into the lead. My thoughts begin to drift. I have seen men's fortunes change and shift, but the race is to the swift. The race is to the swift.
You know, usually the winner's circle is filled with the Cam Fella entourage. But this time the media took over. The two Norms, they'd asked just for their families to be with them. But the press boys, they couldn't miss an opportunity like this. Cam Fella just didn't belong to the two Norms no more.
And I'd like to take the opportunity of congratulating Norm Clements and Norm Faulkner for allowing this horse not only to run for the people of Canada, but bringing him home to Toronto for his final race. We wish them both luck. A special word of thanks to Pat Crow, and a big cheer for Cam Fella. Norm Faulkner.
Well, this was the end of Cam's racing career, but only the end of Chapter 1 in the partnership of the two Norms. And after the race, it was time for the last post-race Cam Fella party.
He just loves the race, goes in the nose. Look at that fella go. Cam is his name, racing is his game. Cam fella, pacing on to fame.
Well, I think what I seen of Cam Fella was most of it was from the behind end, because I could never ever get up alongside of him. I think he's probably the greatest horse that I've ever seen in my life, or probably ever will see in my life, even if I live to be old.
Definitely so. He's put so many good horses away. You think you got him beaten, he just puts you away again. There's no doubt or no maybes. Like, he is, to me, he is the best horse I've ever seen.
This horse is just superior in every category you can think of, from speed, stamina, just a tough all-around best animal that I've ever seen in all those years.
Hey, Chico, where's all your troops gone? I guess they're closed for repairs, eh?
They've all gone home, Fred.
Oh, boy, so well, it's getting on. I wonder if you could use your influence and get me one. Just step the sucker up, maybe 3 lengths. That'll. You know, I was talking to the two Norms and we were saying, isn't it interesting? When Cam Fella was named Horse of the Year for the second time, the most happy fella his daddy passed on. Thank you. That was a blessing in disguise in a strange way, because suddenly they got to have the line. It's got to continue on. All of a sudden, his sire's gone. Now there's another importance, and he passes his fertility test. That was what was maybe the key.
This is straight semen.
So old Doc Joy, he goes down to New Jersey, and they perform test after test to find out Cam's potential as a stallion. Well, I'll tell you, he surpassed everyone's expectations in terms of volume and motility, and proved that he was just as good in the sack as he was on the track.
Cam Fella is undoubtedly one of the most fertile horses I've had the pleasure to work with during the last 14 years. I told one of my veterinary friends on the phone the other day that we could get the fence post pregnant if we knew when to breed them. Everything about his semen quality is excellent. We could breed 20 mares a day to him if we had to.
Now, Cam Fella's life as a stallion began at Jeff's Standardbred Country Club, which has since become Dream Air Stable, a beautiful spread in southern New Jersey. Now, even though his racing days was over, Cam was still, very much a celebrity. People come from far and wide to see him, and Cam was still the talk of the country among racing fans, and he was still being celebrated by horsemen and politicians alike. Well, I'll tell you, you've really arrived in Canada when the CBC invites you to appear on its old Warhorse Front Page Challenge.
It's Front Page Challenge. And here's someone we all relish, Fred Davis.
Thank you. Good evening, and welcome to Front Page Challenge. Once again, we're ready to figuratively throw some stories and challengers at my friends over here on the panel. And we're ready with our first story, our first challengers in the wings. Here's the first mystery headline for you.
Our guests are the owners of Cam Fella, North America's finest harness racer, Norman Clements and Norman Faulkner.
A friend of mine who is in the thoroughbred business, or was, suggested by a sneering remark he made that there's a fair amount of snobbery between thoroughbred owners and standardbred owners. He referred to standardbred horses sneeringly as jugheads. Is this a term that's familiar to you?
I guess the thoroughbred business is known as the sport of kings, and I guess, as you said, jugheads, I don't like the name harness business. We're more the farmer type of people. We make all the money, the thoroughbreds get all the glory.
Early in January in 1985, in a quiet straw-covered stall in southern New Jersey, there was a historic occasion. Cam's first foal was born. Then it was time for Cam's induction into the Canadian Horse Racing Hall of Fame. Now that's when everyone gets all dicky-dooed up like the Duke and Duchess of Kakiak in their latest rentals.
I would like to call upon the owners of Cam Fella, Norm Clements, Mr. Norm Faulkner, and Mr. Ed Friedberg to come forward and pick up the plaque attesting of his induction into the Hall of Fame of horse racing in Canada.
I'd like to thank Jeff Brooks and Peter Hauk, who were the caretakers of Cam Fella for 2 years. Peter's with us tonight. Cam Fella never lost a race. His last 28, Peter started looking after him. I'd also like to thank Pat Crow, who was a trainer-driver. Pat did a great job keeping Cam Fella healthy for 2 years. I'd like to thank also all the racetracks and all the people who made the last 2 years of Cam Fella the greatest time of my life, and also Norm Faulkner. Thank you.
Cam Fella's first crop of yearlings, foals of 85, yearlings in 1986, and from what I've seen, they're an exceptional bunch of colts and fillies. From our mares, the Dream Air mares, we bred 6 mares to him the first year. All 6 got in foal. We've had 5 colts, 1 filly, and uniformly they are clean-legged, straight-legged foals with really no flaws that you'd have to be concerned about. They've got good size, substance, very, very basically correct foals. I'm very, very impressed with the Cam Fellas at this point.
Think about it. 2-time Horse of the Year in North America. Most consecutive wins of any standard-bred horse, 28 consecutive wins. Most 2-minute miles. All-time money winner, over $2 million. Honored in the Ontario legislature. Yeah. You just have to think of the horses Cam beat. Mackenzie Almahurst, My Bill Forward, Perfect Out. It's Fritz, Mr. Delray, Tamagen, Miller Scout, and the real rough no-nukes. He whipped him real good. For my money, for Fred C. Dobbs' money, he's the greatest standard-bred pacer of all time.
The best we've ever seen. It was record night at Greenwood for the Queen City Pace. He showed his class in Montreal.
And of course, by this time, Princely Acres had changed a bit. You should see what a spread they got up there now. They call her the house that Cam built.
Cam Fella has the triple crown.
I think it knit a real group of people together. It mostly was our own people that were with us before Cam started racing. And today, quite a while after his career has finished racing, we still have the same group of people. We do different things. Maybe we don't see each other as much as we used to, but it's still, Cam Fella is still always part of the conversation. Remember those trips, remember those parties, remember those happenings, remember those wins. And I think myself, when I get down a little bit in my business, I look back and I might even watch the Ipswich Cam Fella race. It brings back the memories and the great times we had.
I've been covering harness racing for several years around here, and for the longest time, harness racing's been its own worst enemy. There's been a lot of good horses from around here, no Cam Fellas, but a lot of good horses, and a lot of people who were happy when things went well for them and wouldn't talk to you when things weren't the best for them. In the last 2 years, Norm Faulkner, Norm Clements, Pat Crow, all of them, in no particular order, have been as good with me, and I'm talking me as a newspaper reporter, as anyone in this industry has ever been. They've made my job pretty damn easy the last couple of years. So has Cam Fella.
It wasn't always 27 wins in a row. In the start of this year, they had the faith and courage to race this horse as a 4-year-old when I'm sure they heard it 100 times from all the experts in the industry. What have you got left to prove? Well, he did have a lot left to prove, and he's turned the whole industry around. I don't think another great racehorse will ever be able to retire to be a stallion without racing past the 3rd year and be as great as Cam Fella.
It starts in a funny way, you know. There are people here tonight, like New Jersey Mike, like Milt, like I could go on and name quite a few more. But if you were to have a truly Cam Fella night, you'd have to have Maple Leaf Gardens. Because truthfully, that horse in itself belongs to the people.
So come on, you pacers, catch me if you can. I beat you before and I will do it again. There are those out there who I can't let down. I'll make you a winner if you pass it around, and I can sense my speed as I pull into the lead. My thoughts begin to drift. I'll make you feel a little lucky. It'll give you a lift. We all love our racing, but the race is to the swift.
Norm Faulkner is an incredible person. He's probably one of the best people alive. I don't know what it is. It's whether it's a love between us or just the admiration that we know we're both honest and we both help each other.
It's just been a wonderful partnership. But I think more important to me than the partnership is Norm is a very good friend. And I cherish that very much. I'm just sitting on top of the world.
The swift, the race is to the swift.